So you're on the hunt for an air purifier. We all want to breathe cleaner, fresher air in our homes, right? And almost immediately, you're going to run into two big technologies, HEPA and electrostatic. They both promise to get the job done, but believe me, they could not be more different in how they do it.
And you might think, okay, simple choice. But there's some really fascinating and kind of surprising science going on behind the scenes. There are these hidden trade-offs that, let's just say, you won't always find spelled out in the marketing brochures.
All right, so here's the game plan for this explainer. First, we'll meet the invisible enemy we're all fighting. Then we'll get into how these filters actually work. Think brute force versus static cling. We'll put them in a head-to-head face-off, expose a pretty shocking Achilles heel in one of them, and then we'll help you figure out how to choose your champion.
Okay, so first things first, what are we actually trying to get out of our air? Well, it's literally filled with microscopic stuff. We're talking dust, pollen, pet dander, mold spores, and even smoke particles and viruses. This is the invisible gunk that air purifiers are designed to trap to keep us healthy.
Now, to battle this invisible world, engineers came up with two totally different strategies. One is all about physical, brute force, and the other is based on, well, electrical attraction.
So let's dive into the mechanics of how these two philosophies actually play out. It really is a story of pure brute force versus something more like static cling.
A HEPA filter is purely mechanical. Just think of it like an incredibly complex maze made of tiny fibers. Air gets forced through and the particles just get stuck. That's it. Simple but effective. An electrostatic precipitator, on the other hand, is a whole different beast. It's an electrical trap. It literally zaps particles as they come in, giving them a positive charge, and then it uses negatively charged metal plates to snatch them out of the air, just like a magnet.
And you can really see the physical difference right here. On the left, that's the electrostatic cell. See how open and airy it looks? It's designed so air can just cruise right through. But then look at the HEPA filter on the right. It's this dense, pleated web of material. Now, that density is amazing for trapping things, but it also means the purifier's fan has to work way harder to push air through it. So, we know how they work. Now for the main event, the face-off. How do these two totally different approaches actually stack up against each other in the real world?
This table really lays out the trade-offs. For efficiency, HEPA's the gold standard, certified to capture 99.97% of particles at 0.3 microns. Electrostatic filters often claim they can get even smaller particles, but their overall efficiency is typically a bit lower. The big draw for electrostatic is maintenance, washable, reusable parts, no replacement costs. But that comes with regular and frankly pretty messy cleaning. Then there's airflow. That dense HEPA filter needs a powerful, often louder fan. The electrostatic filter's open design, it can be much quieter. But, and this is a huge one, that electrical process creates a byproduct, ozone, which is a known lung irritant.
And this leads us to a really critical weakness. An electrostatic filter's performance isn't static, it degrades. As this source points out, the moment those collector plates get even a thin coat of dust, their magnetic grip gets weaker. This can lead to something called blow-off, where particles that were already caught get knocked loose and shot right back into your room. So to be effective, they need constant, diligent cleaning.
But hang on. What if the biggest problem with these filters isn't the dust on the plates at all? What if the real failure point is something you can't even see, and something you can't just wash away?
I mean, the common wisdom seems logical enough. As long as you keep washing those plates, your electrostatic purifier should just keep on working perfectly. Makes sense, right?
Well, it turns out that's not the whole story. Not even close. Research that was backed by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency dug into how these purifiers actually perform in real homes over time, and, well, what they found changes everything.
And this picture, wow, this picture reveals the core problem in a really shocking way. On the right, you see the bright electrical glow coming from the wires of a brand new filter. This glow is called the corona. Now look to the left. That's the same filter after just 1 month of normal use in a home. The corona, it's practically gone. And if you don't have that corona, the filter can't charge particles, which means it's basically useless, no matter how clean the collector plates are.
And let's be super clear here. This corona discharge isn't just some fancy light show. It is the absolute heart of an electrostatic filter. It's the engine that powers the whole process. If the corona fails, the system fails, period. So what's killing the corona? Researchers put the wires under a microscope and found the culprit. This image shows one of those wires, and it's coated in a glassy deposit of silicon dioxide. And get this, it forms from a chemical reaction between the high-voltage corona and common silicone vapors that are already in our air, from stuff like furniture polish, cosmetics, and cleaners. This coating basically insulates the wire, choking off the corona. And here's the kicker, you can't wash it off. It's permanent.
So let's just recap what the scientists discovered. The real-world performance of these filters plummeted in just 1 to 3 months. The reason wasn't dirty plates, it was a dying corona. And that corona failed because of a permanent, glassy buildup on the charging wires, created by the filter reacting with everyday chemicals in your own home's air.
So after all that, what on earth does this mean for you? Well, given these really complex trade-offs and these hidden failure modes, there is no single best filter for everyone. The right choice really truly depends on your specific situation and what your priorities are. So here are the questions you need to ask yourself. First, what are you trying to capture? Industrial sources say electrostatic filters can be good for oily mists, but for everyday dry stuff like dust and pollen, HEPA is the standard. Second, maintenance. Do you prefer a predictable, clean filter swap once a year, or are you okay with a frequent hands-on scrubbing routine? Third, efficiency. Do you need that certified, consistent performance from day 1 to day 365, or does the idea of a reusable filter appeal more to you? And finally, health. Is producing any amount of ozone in your house a deal breaker, especially if someone has asthma or other respiratory concerns? So, that's the choice. It's between the certified, mechanical brute force of a HEPA filter, with its replacement costs and noise, versus the reusable, quiet, but potentially inconsistent and ozone-producing world of electrostatic filtration. But now you're armed with the science. Now you can look past the marketing and make the truly informed decision for the air you breathe every single day.